Hello, my name's Finn Toal and I'm from Mancunian Matters and I'm in Edinburgh Fringe for the 75th anniversary. I'm going to check out the Manchester acts and see what they're doing up in the Fringe this week.
This year, the Edinburgh Fringe is fully welcoming the public back after 2 years. There'll be 3,171 shows, 49,827 performances from 58 different countries, where the vision of the Fringe this year is to give anyone a stage and everyone a seat. Performances this year are directly addressing societal questions such as LGBTQ+, gender and mental health, with the aim to start conversations and evoke thoughts from the audience. The Fringe has ensured that the 75th anniversary is bigger than ever, with new venues welcoming performances and an extension to street performances where 3 new locations have been added, which have been supported by TikTok to give performers the opportunity to reach a wider audience. It came up at the Royal Mile, where I saw a couple of my favourite street performers.
Writings on the wall. There is superstition, yeah. The land is about to fall. 30-month phone, baby. I broke the little king flag. Then we took from padlock down the words at all.
So first went to speak to Lyndsey Jackson to find out a little bit more about how the Fringe is organised, what to expect this year, and also being back after 2 years from COVID.
I began by asking the Deputy Chief Executive about the return of the Fringe on the 75th anniversary.
So how do I feel about the return of the Fringe and its 75th anniversary? Incredibly excited, quite nervous. I've really missed the people, I've really missed the artists. Managing a festival is quite difficult when there's no festival, so I've really missed just the excitement and the people and the creativity. I think the 75th anniversary isn't really a pressure to deliver new, it's a pressure to make sure that the Fringe maintains what the Fringe is, which is that it is truly for everybody and there's something, a stage for everyone and a seat for everyone, so you can bring your work if you've never been here before as a performer, or if you've been on the television and you're world famous. All of those are welcome and all of those have level billing, and the same is true for audiences. There's going to be something out there for you. So I think the pressure for 75th year and the pressure for post-COVID was to make sure that the Fringe maintained the spirit of the Fringe, which was that open access, anybody is welcome and everybody has the same opportunity and right and access to culture that we were really keen to protect.
I then wanted to find out about the importance of the diversity between the performers and also the conversations which should be started from the key themes of the Fringe this year.
Yeah, I think the geography of our performers is really critical. So the Fringe is first and foremost the world's greatest platform for freedom of expression, and the world does come to the Fringe. So we have 54 countries represented on our stages, including a huge showing from the home nations, England and Scotland in particular, and that international dialogue is really important. Because it's really important for the industry that happens around the Fringe, so artists from the UK who want to go to all those different countries and showcase their work, but it's also really important that artists that feel that they can come to the UK and they can have some of those challenging conversations potentially that they can't have in their own countries, that they can have those here, and the UK is a space for some of that dialogue, even if it's critical. So what with the internationalism of this festival is super important in that culture is part of a universal and international language, and it's really reassuring to see that they are able to join us this year, because obviously COVID's been a big part part of restricting international travel. So it's great, it's absolutely brilliant to see an international audience and international artists coming back to the Fringe this year. I think the key themes of the Fringe always reflect the key themes of the conversation that are happening in society. So it's no surprise that people are concerned with identity, with the rights of individuals, that they're concerned with the narratives of war, they're concerned with the narratives around capitalism and who has the power and inequality. And I think that culture is one of those spaces in which it should be part of the conversation about the society that we live in. And the best thing about the Fringe is many of these artists are not subsidised or funded in any way, so they can tell the stories and put forward the position that matters to them rather than it being influenced in any way. So unsurprisingly, the themes reflect society, and unsurprisingly, people want to come and see and understand a different perspective, or potentially have a different conversation about some of those really key themes. So it's always really exciting to see how people take on some of those challenges. The thing I want audiences to take away from their time at the Fringe is they should work, whether it is light-hearted and entertaining and funny, and this goes from stand-up to clowning to serious drama to dance, it should in some way move you, whether that it moves you to tears or to joy. It should give you something that you didn't have before, and I think the thing that audiences should try and find work that speaks to them and that they want to speak back to. So that doesn't have to be a really deep, serious, meaningful conversation. That can be something that's pure silliness, and that silliness is really, really necessary in the world as well. So it doesn't all have to be sort of deep and meaningful dialogue about society, because they're all conversations, and each of those artists is telling you a story. So as an audience, it's your job to listen to that story and to respond to it in a way that feels like you're part of that conversation, and that's truly unique for each of us. No single person has the same festival experience as anybody else, and that's just absolute magic to me.
I then asked Lyndsey about the significance of the Fringe to the public, and if she felt any certain pressures to deliver something special this year.
I think the Fringe is a gift to everybody that takes part in it, and to the city, and to the people that come to the city to experience it. And it's not without its challenges, but ultimately it is an absolute honour and a privilege to be part of this festival that is this incredible exploration and explosion of culture and magic. And we did feel that we had to do everything in our power to make it as easy for everybody to come back, and to do everything in our power to support those artists, to support those venues, to support those audiences, to support this city, in order that people could just come for the summer and have a really, really incredible time at what is the greatest arts festival on this planet.
Finally, I wanted to know how it was for the Deputy Chief Executive to have the Fringe back.
It is indescribable, the sort of mix of emotions about having the Fringe back. There's part of me that wants to cry just with joy and relief. There's something amazing. A lot of what we do, because we only do it once a year, there's people you only see once a year and that we haven't seen for 3 years. So you're running into people in the street that you've not seen for 3 years. There's artists everywhere, there's audiences everywhere. The sun is out, which is really unique. Like the feeling of getting to this point after 2 really difficult years and 2 really challenging years for everybody, not just for the Fringe and its artists, is it's a mix of relief, it's wonder, it's excitement, it's like Christmas Eve, all of your Christmas Eves as a childhood smushed into one thing, and then it's handing you a flyer and demanding that you come and see the show, and it's the most amazing thing ever, and I'm beyond excited to just really get myself into this festival this year. It's brilliant.
And Lyndsey wasn't lying about the flyers. Street performers who were up at the Royal Mile and around all major venues were flyering the public and pitching for their life to entice them to come and enjoy their show. Walking around the Old Town, I was inundated with flyers and posters, each as outrageously eye-catching as the other, to bring me to their performance.
I then made my way up to the Forest Theatre on Infirmary Street, which, like the rest of Edinburgh, was bloody illy. I then caught up with the University of Manchester's Sketch Society Manchester Revue after their performance of This Is a Sketch Show. The Manchester Revue performed a sell-out show at the Edinburgh Fringe last year when there were still restrictions in place. However, this year they came back and everything was fully opened. The Society also successfully crowdfunded their way to the Fringe this year, where they raised £1,750. After the show, I spoke to the President Nell and also Fraser. I asked them about the differences from the last time they performed during the COVID year, and also the buzz that they got after the show this year, and how they felt after performing on the first day at Edinburgh Fringe.
I was born in Carlisle, but I was reared in the Royal Navy. I was actually born in Surrey, but I only moved into the city for a while, that's London. And I went out to Dulwich, and I was there for about some years, and then I had to leave because something to do with fire and some cats. So then I went to Eton, so yes, I guess you could say I was made in Eton.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Kent, and I went my gap year kids!
When joined by Fraser and Nell, I really wanted to know the importance of Manchester Sketch Society and the possibility of performing 3 years in a row.
So the Manchester Revue is a relatively new society, like at the University of Manchester, and it was definitely like a kind of big thing and quite a big selling point as well, as like if we can get to Fringe every year, it would be really good. It would be just really cool.
Yeah.
And the more we do it, hopefully, like the more money we make from tickets and the easier it should become to like fund lots more like people to come up.
Absolutely, and also reviews are such a big deal in like other universities, and for some reason Manchester didn't have one for so long. Like that shouldn't be the case that a review existed only 2 years ago. So the more we do it, and the more we get to come and do things like this, the more established it'll get in the uni.
3rd, 4th, 5th, and onwards, hopefully.
And then stop. It's really just about doing it for the exposure, I think.
And a lot of it goes back into the society so that people can. Well, basically all of it goes back into society so we can continue doing it next year.
That's we're very lucky for like Nell's group last year because they gave us this platform to do it this year, and it will hopefully you're welcome, and you're not paying me back, but hopefully it will like build and that'll be the constant like sort of natural recycling of the whole thing, really.
Yeah, because we also want to get to the point where like because Fringe is so expensive as a thing for an individual to come up, and so it seems quite like inaccessible for quite a lot of people, and it'd be really nice, I think a kind of long-term goal for the next kind of presidents and stuff and committees is to get to a point where like anyone could just, because everyone does apply to come up, but there's also a thing where it's like there is a financial commitment, and it'd be nice to be like, well, we can kind of full
covering
send
that basically
people up, and that's probably like a way away, but it's to be able to keep doing it here and
100%.
show people that we're having a lot of fun doing it is
I asked the pair about how it was performing last year, and also what made the society want to come back to Edinburgh and perform again this year.
So after last year's show, we performed in a COVID year, and it was really, really fun, and we like sold out and it was really enjoyable, but like it didn't quite kind of, I think, scratch the itch of properly doing Fringe, and because it's such a classic, like it's kind of like a massive goal of a lot of comedy societies, especially at like universities.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so to have done it and to have it gone really well, but during a COVID year, it's quite like, oh come on, like we can definitely do this again, and we can definitely do it like in a year where we could, especially like the 75th anniversary of the Fringe, it seemed like a really perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
Because last year I was kind of more of like I think like a passenger in the ride, and it was really fun. I was in it, but I didn't have much of a hand in writing it, or like, and I wasn't in charge of any of the logistics kind of thing. Whereas this year, I took a lot more of a role in that, so the kind of fear changed from a few different things. I think I feel more confident and more excited to perform it tonight, but I wouldn't say I feel any less nervous.
I think I'd never done something in this format before. I'd only ever done sort of serious drama, and so it was like coming into doing a comedy #1 and then also coming in to do a sketch comedy. It's so different. I was back here pacing like last night, trying to like roll over my lines, which it's like a tradition. I always do it, go over my lines, and I was like, that whole bit is improvised. Like, what am I on about? Like, I can't do that. So it was so like unnerving getting on stage and not actually knowing how it was going to go. But I think now I know that we can do it. That's so much nicer, and people loved it. People loved it, and it was like, okay, now we can go forward and just try and top it every time. It was really good, and once you get that like literally the first laugh, and you come off and you're like, right, okay, I think maybe I can do this, but I'm not too sure.
I think also because we performed it to ourselves so many times, and like friends and stuff who all really liked it, and we all kind of got the fear that it was like, is it just going to be really funny to like our friendship group, and we're going to go on stage in front of all these people at Edinburgh Fringe, and they're like, what are you doing? Yeah, no,
it did just kind of, it linked a lot better in front of other people than I thought it could ever do.
And we have we're lucky we have a really fabulous creative team. Last year the writing was so good because the kind of people who set it up were just so amazing.
Yeah. And that's the people who ran the set up.
And so we were like, we wanted to make sure that we kind of hit that standard and not like, it's almost like not wanting to disappoint your parents. You're like,
but it absolutely was, because they were there last night as well. They were in the second row, and afterwards we went out for like a drink with them and stuff. And it was you sort of slowly like, so like that sketch, like what did you think? And you get, and it's like 5 seconds when your dad's about to tell you you're proud of you or he hates you, and you're just like, brilliant, yes.
I then asked what the buzz was like after coming off stage once finishing their performance. I also wanted to know what the atmosphere was like as well between sketches.
I couldn't really process it, to be honest.
couldn't stop sweating.
Yeah, I was so sweaty after that last dance. But no, it was like a massive high, and getting to see obviously like Noah and like who set up the review last year, and see like
Proud Dad.
like getting to see them and them say well done. It's like because we crack each other in rehearsals, so it was like, are we gonna do it in real life?
We kept being like, oh, it'll be fun, we'll get on stage, we'll get in the zone. And I got on stage and I was like, I've started laughing, I had to turn around and just start shaking. I was like, it's part of the scene.
I turned around and saw Sophie, one of those little fake moustaches, and like our first scene, I was like, oh no, I'm so gone, I can't do this. But yeah, no, you just gotta have to recover it, I guess, if that's not really what I would describe we did, but yeah, try and recover. It's so bad because you don't want to put each other up, but also like you really do.
I think it also comes at a good point because it's like, because it's at the end
of the show,
people have seen it like, oh, we're not just kind of like, hopefully you've seen that we're not like pissing around for the whole hour, like we've got like set bits and we're not just giggling the whole way through, so it comes quite nice at the end, like as a thing to all just start.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Cracking up.
And also like when you get those small moments, I think it's almost nicer with the audience as well. Like we are a university sketch group, and I think that's so important because I think we're in such a privileged position where we can just have fun with the audience because there's no sort of like, you know, serious professional to audience like idea. It's like amateur to audience, and we're just all like trying to have fun. So I think that's also quite nice when you get a little bit of a break. When it, like, and if also it naturally gets you, just laugh because it's funny. Like it's difficult, but it's
also
funny.
Sometimes people watching it, I think, find it quite funny.
Oh, 100%. I know if I'm watching someone and they crack, I'm done.
Finally, I had to ask them how they felt after receiving such an overwhelming amount of support on the crowdfunder.
It was mad.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really expect it. You asked, like asking for like a crowdfunder. Like my dad put it on his Facebook, so pretty important stuff.
No, pretty crazy.
Pretty crazy stuff. But like you know, it goes out to like loads of people, and you like people are just amazingly generous, and it does just surprise you. Like not in like a really negative way, but it's like I completely understand if you don't want to like give to these sort of like amateur theatre groups. But the fact that people do, and it's still very much a thing that happens, it was so amazing.
I think also it's really heartwarming because like uni students, like students and the arts separately are often quite like kind of underfunded, or it's like difficult to get anything off the ground in quite like a serious way outside of uni. Especially with the arts, so it's quite like exciting when loads of people start supporting it. And I think, and it's also nice because like obviously it's your parents and stuff, but it's also when like your friends donate and you know that they're like in a similar situation to you, and it's very like
it's a very supportive network. I mean, we're really lucky with Manchester anyway because it is just a bubble of support, like creative support. Like I've never been anywhere like it where there are so many talented people in the same vicinity. So I think it's almost exhausting. Everyone needs to calm down.
My final interview came with Russell Arathun, who is a comedian who has lived and performed in Manchester. His debut came at the King Gong at the Comedy Store. However, this year, Russell is playing at least 3 shows a day for the entirety of the Fringe.
Russell's show happened at the Fringe's comedy hub, Just the Tonic at the Caves. His performance included dry humour, which was incredibly fast-paced and witty, which was full of audience interaction. So let's see what his show's saying then.
Can just be classed as a mistake. Me and you are making a lot of fucking mistakes, aren't we? Aren't we? We are. Anyway, so I was in M&S doing a bit of shoplifting. Anyway, it was that time when you had to wear masks. Do you remember that? Anyway, this woman walked in, she forgot a mask. Oh my God, do you remember the fear and the anxiety of walking into a shop and then realising you didn't have a mask and then wondering what options you had available. So this woman walks in, she's got no mask. I'm laughing, but everyone else is like shocked. They're tutting, they're huffing, they're shaming her. Honestly, she doesn't know what to do. She's like this, wondering what to do. An old lady is walking out of the shop and can see how panicked she is, so actually takes her mask off and offers it to her. Like she's in some kind of like pay and display parking situation. She's still got an hour left on the mask.
I started out by asking Russell how it felt to be so in demand this year at the Fringe, and also how this compared to his debut back in 2018.
Well, when I realised I was doing all these shows, I thought I'm going to give myself an itinerary. I'm going to get up in the morning, take the dog out, go to the gym, then start doing the shows. Literally, I'm staying in bed now till 10:30, which is not like me at all. Usually when I'm in London, I'm up at like 7 o'clock in the morning, out and about. I'm just absolutely knackered, and sometimes you're so tired and then you have to literally jump on stage and just become alive. This was the thing. Last night I was backstage, felt like falling asleep, and then all of a sudden I'm in front of 200 people at the Pleasance Dome. When I started the Fringe for the first time in 2018, I only did a 10-day run. This is my first full run. So when I first did the Fringe in 2018, I actually did the last 10 days of the Fringe. So I kind of missed this beginning period because the beginning period, it's actually hard work. There's a few days when there's hardly anyone here. The numbers are low, you really are scrambling for getting people in. I was actually on Grindr, actually, like bribing people to get tickets for my show by exchanging like dirty pictures for confirmation emails of tickets bought. It's working quite well, actually. It wasn't my penis in the end, though. It was just something I found on the internet. Well, I'm just doing whatever I can to get people in to watch the show. I mean, I'm verging on prostitution, to be honest with you.
And I saw this documentary on ITV2. Oh God, I watched a lot of ITV2, to be honest with you. They always show the same films, don't they? Panic Room, that's always on the show. I think it's just like a big lesbian version of Home Alone. Anyway, so I saw this documentary and it was talking about all these like performers, actors, like comedians, presenters. They all had to get different jobs during the pandemic just to make ends meet. Didn't they? I mean, at one point, you couldn't even safely order a Deliveroo without running the risk of Meryl Streep being the person that delivered it. I ordered a KFC Mega Bucket at one point and the Crankies turned up with it. Finger-licking Fandabby-Dozy, they said to me, the dirty Scottish bastards.
When I first met Russell, it was outside his venue and he was busy flyering for a show. But what I wanted to know was some of the techniques that he used to this.
So flyering, I mean, I used to get someone to do it for me. So it was very easy, but obviously after Brexit, you can't get anyone to do anything, can you? So I'm doing this myself now. So I am literally stood on every street corner flyering. And I think you see people that you would like to come to your show. So you are judging the audience just as much as they're judging you. So you don't flyer every single person. You look at the people. I'm very selective who I flyer, so they're very lucky if they get a flyer off me. And my tagline is, I've been just going up to people going, do you like comedy and gays? So the woman yesterday just said, no, I don't like either. But most people can't refuse that, so they're taking my flyers off me. I've got 10,000 flyers. I thought it was too many flyers, but actually, I've already gone through half a box in like 4 days.
Finally, I wanted to find out the buzz that Russell received after performing.
So the buzz from last night, it didn't last very long because I literally had to go straight to do another show at the Pleasance, so I just had to grab all my stuff. I ended up leaving some stuff in there actually, so there was a buzz, but I just couldn't actually like enjoy it because I'm so busy. I was doing like 5 shows yesterday at the Fringe. Did something at 2:30, then I did my own show, then I went home, saw the dog for a little bit, then I managed to treat myself to a 6-minute snooze, literally fell asleep for 6 minutes, then went back out again, did 3 late night shows. But I really enjoyed last night's show. Saturday night, first weekend of the Fringe, so everyone was out, got big numbers in. You were there, obviously, so it was brilliant.
All in all, the Edinburgh Fringe was a fantastic experience with an amazing atmosphere. But one thing's for sure, the acts I interviewed definitely showed the quality that came from Manchester.
Thank you all so much for tuning into this video piece about how the Mancunians have been getting on up in the Edinburgh Fringe. I've been Finn Toal and hope you all stay safe and take care.